Gary King here. Okay, when you're calling dealerships, there's going to come a point in the conversation where how you're financing the car is going to come up. They may say, hey, we've got some great lease programs, or we're planning on using Mercedes financing, and you're going to have to address how you're planning on paying for the car. So the story that you tell them on where you're getting the money can be a red flag. So in this short video, I'm going to go through a bunch of different possible scenarios. And in those, you only need to choose one story that makes sense. What I'm going to ask you to do is kind of fill in the blanks. I'm going to give you the outline or the framework for the possible scenarios which would make sense for you to be able to buy a car. Then you fill in the particulars as far as times, dates, places, locations, and make it personalized and believable and realistic for you. So I'm going to give you the framework, and it's up to you to kind of fill in the blanks. Simple as that. Thanks. All right, William Shakespeare said that the world is your stage. Well, welcome to the stage. When you're calling dealerships, you want to appear to be just a normal Joe average car buyer. You want to say things like, hey, I've got a trade-in. How much will you give me for my 2006 Honda Ridgeline? It's got 140,000 miles on it. Just tell them the car you're driving and ask them what they'll give you, and they'll say, bring it in, and I'll tell you. You also want to say stuff like, I want to come in for a test drive. How late are you there today? They love to hear that stuff. Now, as I indicated in the beginning of this, I'm going to give you sample stories. You need to personalize them and embellish upon them. Here's one. I promised myself when I turned 40 or 50 or whatever age that I was going to buy a new Mercedes, Porsche, Land Rover, whatever it may be. Graduation. Graduation gifts are a great cover story because people are always proud of accomplishments of their loved ones. So, graduation. Here's an example. My dad or mom promised that if I finished my college degree because I dropped out when I was a senior, that they would help me buy whatever car that I wanted. Or when I went back and got my MBA, doctorate, nursing degree. It really doesn't matter what the degree is. You fill in the blanks for the one that makes sense for your particular scenario. Or, of course, grandparents are extremely proud of their grandkids. So, same cover story, whether it's for college, GED, doctorate, whatever it may be. I like this one. My grandfather's born in 1927. He's 87 years old, and he lived through the Depression, and as a result was one of the most frugal, most successful businessmen that I know. He told us last Christmas that all the grandkids get whatever car they want so he can enjoy watching us drive before he kicks the bucket. Or how about a wedding gift? My parents or my wife's parents or my whoever's parents are giving it to us. We're planning a family pretty quickly, so we are looking for an SUV, which is why we're looking for the Porsche. Or my wife and I went to school together. She was a year ahead of me, and when she graduated, I asked her to marry me, and I dropped out of school so I could support our family. Or when we were in doctorate program together, whatever it may be, but I dropped out, and she's encouraging me, or he's encouraging the wife to do the same thing. Or how about a big company downsizing and taking early retirement? That happens all the time. Here's some examples of big companies that have paid people for early buyouts from their corporation. Or you work for an overseas company with a presence here in America. Here are 3 companies that have large American presences, and any and all of them could be downsizing and asking you to leave in exchange for a nice early retirement settlement. Or how about my niece or nephew is graduating from law school, like mine, Austin, is graduating, and my brother and I promised we'd buy him whatever car he wants, and believe it or not, this is what he wants. He wants a GL350 or he wants a Porsche Cayenne. So my brother and I are footing the bill and buying him his graduation gift. Or my mom and dad are originally from Texas, or Louisiana, or Oklahoma, or any state where there is oil. About 20 years ago, Exxon or Phillips or whoever you want to pick found oil on my daddy's property, and we've been trust fund babies ever since. Every month we get a check from our trust fund, and it helps. Or my wife was at work and she hurt herself at the Coke machine or at the elevator, whatever it may be, and we settled out of court in exchange for never suing them or asking them for more money for medical things, and we can't even disclose the name of the company. Or how about my aunt or uncle never married, and as a result, they got a boatload of money, and he or she promised me that if I went back and graduated from law school or nursing school or college or whatever it may be, that is a way to entice me to do it, that they would help me buy whatever car I wanted. So my rich, crazy uncles helped me. Or how about my wife was harassed sexually at the office, and we settled out of court after about a year, and I can't tell you the particulars, but I can tell you that I was able to punch the sucker right in the nose and broke it. So that's the good news. Or my wife or husband's the most frugal person I've ever met, and in addition to being the most wonderful, ever since we got married, we've tied 10% and put 10% away, and that's been years and years and years ago, so we're just paying it out of one of our CDs. Now, pick any one. You only need to have one story. Regardless if you're buying a Porsche or Mercedes, it doesn't matter. There has to be just one logical cover story that you fill in the blanks, you personalize it, you practice it, and you make it yours, and you'll have some fun and buy some cars.